Hello there, everyone. Welcome to your mid-November 2017 tarot reading. So I actually was going to try to conserve energy, so I wasn't going to do these mid-month reading and instead, try to start on the December reading early. That way I'm not late for you guys for next month. But it is also Thanksgiving time in the United States, and I know a lot of people, they're attending, family functions and things like that. And dealing with family can be a little bit tenuous for some people. So I feel like it might be helpful to get this reading out. And it's going to be extremely short, but I hope it's still helpful for those of you who are watching. And so I pulled out two cards, each for each sign, and I'm going to go over the reading with you guys. And I hope it's helpful for you guys. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving for those who are celebrating in the States, and have a great rest of November for those who are not celebrating Thanksgiving, either way. So this is going to run roughly from the 15th until the end of the month, and it starts tomorrow. But, energy is fluid from the 15th until the 30th of November. So let's start with the first sign. For Aries. Aries, I feel like you are dealing with another person who is very indirect with the way that they communicate. It's like they want something from you, but they have a very roundabout way of dealing with you, and they kind of beat around the bush. And this is something that really irks you because you're very straightforward. You wear your heart on your sleeves, and if you want to say something, you always just, in a very straightforward manner, you say it, you communicate, and you don't like to sit there and have to figure out somebody's motives. Life for you is just very clear cut and black and white. And so you're dealing with this person, and they're gonna make statements and insinuate things without, being straightforward with you. So here's just my advice when you're dealing with this. And I feel for some of you, it is a family member. And I do feel a very strong maternal vibe with this person. Could be a mother, somebody that you're dealing with who has more of a feminine energy. And I'm also feeling for those of you who are dating, I feel like it could be somebody if they've had a divorce in their past, or if they've been through, their own situation where they have trust issues, and they also have problems expressing their needs because of fear of rejection, okay? So if they're lacking the capability to be very straightforward when they're dealing with you, very straightforward when they're communicating with you, and this is a new person, then you want to tell them, I would appreciate it if you can be a little bit more straightforward with me. I don't want to sit here and have to guess your motives. I want to be able to trust you. So let's approach this like adults, and let's just, be very clear when we communicate. So if it's somebody that you're newly dealing with and they exhibit this energy, have that conversation with them. If this is somebody that is, you've been dealing with for a long time, and they keep exhibiting these behaviors where they're not straightforward, they have they beat around the bush, and it gets really irritating, you don't have to engage in this conversation. Okay, so taking a time off, taking about 2-3 weeks off, just not communicating with them. And then when they kind of come back in, they're a little bit more, I want to say, direct. And that's when you can tell them, I respond to directness. If you can't be direct with me, then I don't want to engage with you in conversation. And it's because I don't want to have to second guess, and I don't want to have to figure out your motives. Leave it at that, because I feel like you need to, definitely set boundaries, but you also need to let the other person know that exactly what it is that's making you so upset, because I feel like you might be frustrated and you might be upset, but you're not really sure why. And so I feel like, in the process of just taking care and going through the motions in your life, you might not have given this so much thought. Like, why does it irritate me so much when I deal with this person? Why does it, aggravate me? And I feel like that's the problem, is they're very indirect. They say one thing, mean another. And I feel like they deep down, they do fear rejection. So they don't really verbalize what it is that they want, what it is that they need, because they don't, they just, you know, assume that the other person will kind of use that against them. So I feel like it's somebody who has been manipulated. It's somebody who has dealt with a lot of rejection, has abandonment issues. And they're just very, unclear. And so that's the best way I feel for you to handle this, okay? Get a... I see like a break, so I don't know if you're recuperating from some type of a flu illness or something a little bit more severe. I feel as if, you know, you're going to bounce back. And I do feel as well, taking time off to yourself, take care of yourself, just let other people do their thing, so that it can, you know, give you more like a better sense of peace of mind, okay? So do what you need to do from your end. Don't deal with indirect people. It's aggravating, I understand. So, you know, you don't need to engage in it. You don't need to give it any more of your energy, okay? So I'm going to leave it at that. Aries, please take care of your health, okay? So moving on to the next sign, we have here Taurus. So Taurus, the message that I'm getting for you guys here is, a lot of the times you want to take control of a situation, and taking control of a situation means, okay, I'm going to take over because everybody else is not really agreeing. So I'm going to, you know, take over and steer either a conversation in a specific way, or I'm going to play mediator to get, you know, to kind of like be the bridge or the middleman, so that two sides, two other people, two other parties can understand where the other person's coming from or where the other party's coming from. Or I'm going to, you know, take control of this situation and say what I feel the other person needs to hear. And so I feel like you're dealing with some type of a conflict. It's like an ongoing type of a conflict with another person. And they're saying that a lot of the times, you know, in the past, you might have wanted to take control. But a lot of the times, taking control of a situation can also mean, rather than adding to it, we can de-escalate it, okay? So mediation works well, or at least, you know, taking a break, taking a pause from a tenuous situation so that we don't escalate things. So that's another way where we can indirectly, you know, take control. And so control plays out in many, many, many ways. And I feel like for some of you, it can feel as if you want to take over a situation, but you don't really know how, because the other person is not seeing things from your point of view. And so one thing that you have to understand as well is, maybe there's some validity to what they're feeling, to what they're saying, to what they're, you know, to why they're doing the things that they do. So rather than telling them, no, don't do that, do this, maybe you should hear them out. And then also maybe, you know, if they're so fixated and they're so like stuck in doing it a particular way, maybe taking control can mean offering assistance, offering a helping hand, offering to be, you know, their support, even if you disagree with their choices, even if you disagree with the decision, offering to help them so that, you know, you can alleviate the burden for them, or you can, you know, make sure that everything is done the right, proper way, even if it's something that you don't agree with. So I feel like there are different ways that we can approach a problem. And a lot of the times I feel like you might have a very linear way of problem solving, but this is for the next 2 weeks, it's really important to kind of like cater to the other person and figure out why is it so that they're so fixated on this specific course of action. Maybe there's some validity to it, is what I'm saying, okay? So even if you don't agree, I feel like it would be in your best interest to try to see things from their perspective. So I feel like for those of you who have ongoing conflicts, they're going to de-escalate tremendously. So harmony is being restored. I also feel as well there are even short trips, voyages taken that will really like uplift the weight off your chest And also there will be reunions as well. Okay, so it looks good. It's just we have to think about, you know, creative ways, thinking outside the box, thinking of creative ways to problem solve and to kind of meet the other person halfway, especially if we have trouble seeing things from their perspective. Okay, so moving on to the next sign, we have Gemini. So Geminis, I see you like sweating, I see you squatting, I see you getting up and then squatting, and then doing some leg presses. So I don't know if you are, you know, getting, it seems like you're trying your hard to be very, very productive with your time. There is a little bit of an easing up, so I feel like you have more free time, you have more leisure time. And I see you doing like physical activity. So it could be working out, it could be getting in shape, it could be consulting a personal trainer. It could also be teaching a class where you're doing these things and you're teaching other how to do, you know, these movements. So I feel like a lot of movement, but it's contained. It's not like you're moving all over town. I feel like it's contained in a studio, in a gym, in a closed off type of a setting. Be careful about ankles. Okay, be careful about knees and ankles. So make sure you're positioned the right way, and make sure that, you know, you wear like shoes that are get fitted for good shoes, get fitted for the proper clothes. If you have, you know, existing injuries, just make sure you do your proper stretches. Okay, what I'm also feeling as well is you're in a process of building up your wealth, building it all over again. Not that you're starting from scratch. I feel like you already have some financial resources, but you're building it up. So you're careful about spending. You're careful about your money. And I do feel as well, a lot of the times with you, it's like idle hands or the devil's playground. When you're bored, when you're, you have a lot of free time, it just feels to me like, you know, life kind of gets away from you. You do things that might not be productive. And so I feel like you're aware of this and you're trying to keep yourself busy in a more productive way. So taking care of your health and even, you know, committing your time to doing things or activities that are a lot more, I want to say, like, that doesn't leave you feeling idle and feeling like, you know, you want to get into, I guess, like even bad habits or bad situation or seeing bad people just to pass the time. So I feel like you're definitely a lot more conscientious about what you do when you have free time, when you have leisure time. Okay, so for the next 2 weeks, I do see as well a lot of self-improvement happening, which is I'm really glad to see this for you guys. It's time to, you know, get yourself grounded. It's time to do all of these things that you might have kind of started but then stopped in the past. Okay, so moving on to the next sign, we have here Cancer. So Cancers, I do have a lot of movement happening for you. Things are going according to plan. Contracts, they say like investigation, contracts, signing contracts. I feel like it would be really good for you to do it this month. And I especially see for the next 2 weeks before the December 2nd time frame, get everything signed, because we are heading into a retrograde cycle on December 2nd. So I feel like, you know, you want to wrap up everything, you want to finalize everything. So I do see a lot of forward movement, forward momentum coming into the picture as it relates to things that have been stalled up, projects, plans, ideas, settlements even. Anything where, you know, you and another person needs to sign on the dotted line in order to kind of like agree on how to move things forward. So I do see that element coming in. I'm also seeing as well, they say like a lot more time spent doing things behind the scene. So I feel like the social life might slow down a little bit, mainly because there are things that you need to wrap up behind the scenes. There are things that you need to kind of like, you know, add last minute touches to them so that you can bring them forth into the world. I'm also sensing as well, if you're signing contract and it's new projects, new work, there is a little bit of a delay between, you know, the time that you sign up and the time that you actually start to move forward with this project. So you have a little bit of leeway and a little bit of leisure time in between. And I do see planning trips. I do see you as well trying to get together with people from different cultures, different backgrounds, interacting heavily with people who are very culturally, ethnically, linguistically different from you as well. So I feel like you're going to be in a very good space. You will be very well received. So I'm really glad to see this for you guys. So I feel like you're going to be, you know, there are things that you need to do behind the scenes, but you're also going to be in the limelight as well and very well received. Okay, so people are looking up at you and seeing what you're doing. Okay, so moving on here to the next sign, we have Leos. So Leos, the energy that I'm getting for you guys, it's a little bit similar to the Gemini energy. I have the card that comes out here is the Nine of Pentacles. And the Nine of Pentacles is usually home-based business, somebody who's self-employed, somebody that dictate their own working hours, and somebody that is in charge of their work. And I feel as if for those of you who are self-employed, there might be, you know, thoughts and things here that indicate to me like possibly wanting to change the office environment, because if you're working from home, for example, the home environment might not be conducive to stability. You know, like there might be too much noise, there might be too many people, you might not have your own space, or the environment is like clutter and crowded and a little bit messy. So it's not really conducive for your peace of mind in order to do your work well. So some of you are thinking about, like, you know, renting out an office space, renting out some space so that you can put your stock, your inventory, so that you can declutter the home environment. And then for others of you, if you're working in a capacity where you care for somebody at their physical home, it could be like if you're a caretaker, if you're a personal assistant, if you, for whatever reason, work in some type of a housing situation, like a resident advisor, a leasing agent, if you're working in that capacity, I just feel like there is a major slowdown at work. And if you're working on a commission basis as well, I do feel a little bit of a slowdown, and it's worrying you a little bit. I feel like it's a natural slowdown, mainly because a lot of people are traveling, so they might not be around to consult you. So I feel like this is an energy that, you know, it's going to start picking up come January, the beginning of the year. So don't worry too much about it. Okay, keep yourself grounded, and this might be a good time to catch up rather than taking care of new leads. The new leads that are coming in might be slow. So you might want to, you know, take the time to do like the bookkeeping, to do catching up of the other stuff that you might have kind of swept under the rug, filing, reorganizing, reordering supplies, doing inventory checkups, and you know, just decluttering and cleaning out the house so that it doesn't get out of control when things are busy again. Okay, I do see a huge need for you guys to do some early spring cleaning. So think of it as, you know, winter cleaning up the house, having everything kind of they're saying like sterilized. So I don't know if there are you know, like I'm seeing those if you have a house with carpet and it hasn't been cleaned in a while, I feel like they're saying like sterilize, like possibly steaming the carpet, killing all the bacteria, killing all the germs, or at least doing some very thorough deep cleaning so that your environment can be, you know, bacteria free, so that you can also give yourself that that impetus to start clearing up and decluttering your housing environment. Things that the children have outgrown, things that you don't use anymore, things you don't wear anymore, get rid of them. Okay, it's a good time to do that. And moving into December is also a very good time to do that. With that Mercury retrograde energy, it's good for reorganizing, inventory, redoing the inventory. So I feel like you have from the next 2 weeks, if you're pressed for time, wait until December to do that. Okay, so you're not going to be I don't feel like, you know, it's going to catch up on you unawares, but I feel like there is a bigger need to do it. If you've been putting it off, I feel like it's going to take a little bit more time, a little bit more energy and more effort than you initially anticipate. Okay, but that is one thing that you really need to do right now. Okay, so moving on to the next sign, we have here Virgo. So Virgo, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it was very difficult for me to retrieve this message. And what I'm feeling is, so first of all, let me just talk about the cards, maybe that will help. You have here the Page of Cups in the reverse position, but I'm not reading this as a person. What I feel is, it just feels to me like one thing after another, a curveball is kind of thrown at you. It's like one person has good intentions, but I feel like they are constrained, they are restricted to what they're able to do. So on the one hand, they might, you know, talk to you about, I want you to do this, I want you to get on board. But I feel like they say that just to kind of like curry your favor, or just to have a good, you know, standing with you. But deep down, I don't feel like they have that much control over the situation. So it seems from your end kind of like, oh, you know, don't say it if you don't mean it. I do feel like they mean it, but at the same time, they don't really have any sway, any influence over the situation. And so from your end, you're kind of thinking, well, this person is really false. You know, they're just telling me what I want to know. They're just, you know, trying to maintain in my good standing, but they don't really have any control over the situation. But I feel like from their end, they're just like, you know, they're not trying to upset anybody. They're kind of pulled in different directions, and they don't really know, you know, what the best thing to do is. So I do sense somebody like this is coming to you, and it's almost like asking for forgiveness, but in a very indirect way. Or it's almost asking, it's almost like making an offer, but it's very half-hearted. So I'm sensing like it's going to feel like bittersweet, and it's going to feel very incomplete. So in whatever capacity you're dealing with this person, it could be, you know, somebody in the work environment is what I'm sensing. And then it's also somebody in the home environment. I feel like if it's somebody in the work environment, it can be a little bit aggravating, because I feel like, you know, they have the best intentions, but they don't really know how to follow through. And then if it's somebody that you're dealing with, either romantically or just, you know, I feel like they are doing a little bit of attention seeking. And it's almost like they're telling you, you don't contact me anymore, you don't call me anymore, you don't text me anymore, and that's it. And you're just like, so I'm busy. So I feel that, you know, your energy is very like black or white, and you're just frustrated when people try to make conversation. And so I feel like the best thing to do is, and this energy actually is very similar to the Aries energy that I just did for Aries. But it feels to me like the people that you're dealing with, they're childish. Like their behavior is just very like, I wish you would do this, wish you would do that. But instead of saying it, they're just like, they make these statements like, you don't contact me anymore, you don't email anymore, you don't hang out with us anymore. And like how it's like half accusatory. So what are you supposed to do with that information? So I do sense some of you just don't respond, and some of you are just like, I've got bigger things to take care of. And it's not because, you know, you're arrogant or conceited. I just feel like you don't like it when people make these statements, and it's not reflective of, you know, the situation. And you also understand as well, like, you know, it's a two-way street. You could have reached out to me, you chose not to, and now you're accusing me of, you know, kind of like turning a blind eye on you. So I feel like you're just like, I'm not going to engage in it. I have bigger things to do. I have other things that I need to take care of. And then for some of you, this can literally be, you know, a water sign that you're dealing with. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And I feel like they're trying to coax you back in. They're trying to engage with you in conversation. They want something from you. And they feel a little bit neglected. They feel a little bit abandoned. Okay. take care of what you need to do, Virgo. I don't feel like, you know, you're a malicious person, and I feel like the other person needs to grow up a little bit. Okay, so moving on here to the next sign, Libras. So Libras, I remember the monthly reading that I did for you guys. It felt to me like it was a little bit heavy, and it was very family oriented. And so this is the, I feel like for the next 2 weeks, what I am picking up is you're dealing with really, really, really stubborn people. They have their opinions made up. They have their mind made up. And, you know, they're going to do what they're going to do. And so they're kind of saying, if you're dealing with people who are incessantly stubborn, they know what they're doing is wrong, but they stick to it, you know, or they're so like narrow-minded, or even like so tunnel vision. They only see what they want to see. And so you're going to really have to take charge of your own life, because I feel like convincing the other party, it's not going to work. Trying to show them a different way of doing, trying to, you know, convince them of your point of view is not going to work. And especially, you know, if you're dealing with family members, I do feel kind of like this, this energy here where they say strength in numbers. And this strength in numbers might make you, you know, incessantly as well come back to them, because you're just like, oh, they're family. We're loyal to each other. We have this strong sense of camaraderie. And if there's more of us, we are stronger for it. But I also feel like you have outgrown them. And staying where you are can really hurt your own emotional, mental, you know, spiritual development, because you're catering to people that are just, they're not as progressive. And I just feel like being stuck in that space can be very frustrating. And when you're dealing with them, it can feel as if they're constantly trying to overpower you. Okay? For the sake of your sanity, for the sake of your sanity, you need to, you know, attach yourself to people who are a lot more sincere. You need to attach yourself to people who are clear about where they're headed, where they're going, and where their ambitions lie. If they're goal-oriented, if they're, you know, ambitious, if they're like self-starter, you need to be with people who are a little bit more proactive. Okay, so I do see a lot of stagnation that you're going back to. It's not going to serve any purpose. So try to, you know, branch out, try to be independent, try to be on your own, try to make these decisions based on what you want, rather than based on, you know, what you feel other people want from you. Because on the one hand, you know, there's that sense of like stability, but it can also be stagnant. And a lot of the times for you guys, it might be difficult to distinguish the two. Okay, what is stable can also be stagnant. So keep that in mind and try to steer yourself away to, you know, fresher energies and greener pastures and, you know, better horizons. Okay. Moving on to the next sign, Scorpios. So Scorpios, you have some good things. I have here a situation that you need to put a little bit more work in if you want to see the end result, and if you want to have a very, very good payout. So it seems to me like you might be offered a new job proposal, a new project, a new income generating opportunity, and a new investment opportunity as well. So something is coming in for you. And I'm also feeling like it doesn't have any strings attached, but you're also thinking, I have a lot on my plate right now, so I don't know if I want to get involved in this. I don't know if the payout is worth it. The payout is definitely worth it. So if you have this coming in for you, make time for it and really nurture it and you know, water it and make sure you take care of it in order for it to grow, because I feel like it can exceed your expectations. And I'm also sensing as well, for some of you, and you know, this is like trauma from the past here. There was a situation, a relationship in the past where you put a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort, and you tried and tried and tried. And because you spent so much time, because there's such a long history with another person, it was hard for you to let go. Some of you could still be in it, not refusing to refusing to let go of the relationship, and it is really draining your financial resources. It's really draining you. You're better off cutting yourself free and rebuilding your financial life, because I feel like the relationship really drained you. For others, you might have already let this go because, you know, it was hurting you financially, emotionally. You let it go. And then something similar is also in the picture, but it has a lot more potential. But I feel like you're already seeing this and judging it through the lens of the past, and you're thinking, this is so similar to what I did before, to that situation before, or that person before, and I don't want to end up, you know, in a dark space again. So I feel like, you know, we're given different opportunities here, and you have to see the new opportunity for what it is, and not shy away from taking charge of the situation, and kind of like trusting that if you invest in it, it will grow for you. Okay. So you have a lot of good things here, but I just do, I feel a lot of fear based on past experiences. That's really coloring the way that you look at this new opportunity. Okay. I do see as well good energies coming through for many of you when it comes to moving forward with new jobs, moving forward with new opportunities. And then I'm also sensing as well something that it seems to me like business, work, things that might have been promised for a really long time. You're assessing whether or not it's still viable, whether or not it's still good for you. So you're still waiting around on a decision from another person. Okay, so moving on here to Sagittarius. Sagittarius, the card that fell out for you here is the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, so let me just talk about this, what I'm picking up with this card. The message that I got here, and it's not the traditional meaning of the card, but this is the message that I got with this Ten of Pentacles. They say empty nester, no one's around, and they also say like everyone's off doing their own thing. So a lot of the times, you know, fire signs in general are actually very, very family oriented. They like to have big families gathering. They like to, you know, have the people that they love and trust around them. And I feel like for you, you know, I've mentioned before, you know, family members, you hate them or you love them, but you try to keep them around, and you try to associate with them, and you try to, you know, keep them close, because family means a lot to fire signs. And I'm feeling like, you know, there might be some disappointment when it comes to family get-together, mainly because everybody's got a gazillion things going on in their lives that they're trying to take care of. And so the advice here is, do not take things personally. The advice here as well is to be flexible, because, you know, if you've made plans, okay, let's all get together this month. I feel like a few people are going to be like, oh, I can't do it. This last minute thing popped up. And I definitely feel like, you know, it's not like they're lying to you. It's not like they're trying to deceive you, or they're trying to be flaky. I feel like they literally are slammed with a gazillion things left and right, and they're not going to be able to be where they said that they were going to be, you know, several weeks ago. So I feel like, you know, don't take it personally. Okay. Be understanding. And I'm also feeling as well, you need to plan things out. Give it a little bit more time than you thought. So for example, if you feel like, oh, it's going to take me 2 hours to, you know, get where I need to go, do 2.5, because I feel like there are going to be, it's not so much like, they're saying like surprises. So I feel like they're pleasant surprises. So somebody might just, you know, ring your doorbell out of the blue, and then you might end up getting caught in like a half-an-hour conversation. And then if you planned it for half an hour earlier, then I feel like, you know, then you won't be late. So I feel like a lot of unexpected things are happening, a lot of things in the picture. You know, it's also birthday time for you guys, so I just also want to wish you a very happy birthday. If you're making plans to celebrate and people are kind of backing out, please don't take it personally. I know that it's very difficult, you know, especially it's your birthday time. But I just feel like people have things, like legitimate things that they have to derail their plans for. These are urgent things that they need to take care of, okay? So I feel that element here about no one's home. Everyone's like off doing their own thing. Everyone's leading separate lives. And so the energy for you is as well, you know, be expansive when it comes to your home. Be forgiving. And also making contingency plans, okay? So I'm going to leave it at that. Moving on to the next sign, we have Capricorn. So Capricorn, they mention a coming together. So if you've been kind of at a distance from somebody, I do feel a sense of like people coming together, bridging the emotional rift and bridging the physical rift as well. So I do see an element of people coming together. I have an air sign in the picture, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, that you're heavily thinking about, you've been heavily communicating with, and you've been heavily, you know, just I want to say obsessively thinking about, like wondering as well. For some of you, it's a person that you like a crush or somebody like that. And then for others of you, it's like a friend, and you're just like, I wonder what that person's up to. I wonder what they're doing. And for whatever reason, this person seems to have like a lot of things going on in their lives. They're here today, gone tomorrow. They bounce around a lot. They might be, you know, from traveling from different location. They might be in one country, and then one day, and then, you know, the next in another country. So I feel like you're dealing with someone who's like, whose record is very spotty. So they might not be the most reliable person. They're exciting, but they might not be the most reliable person. So you're kind of wondering, like, I wonder what they're up to. I wonder if they're okay. I wonder where they're living right now, and if they have, you know, interesting stories to share with me. So reach out, because I feel like the other person might be in a situation where they might need advice, where they might need guidance, where they might need something from you. Not like they're taking advantage of you, but I feel like they might, it's good to reconnect. I feel like it's the opportune moment where the two of you can have very, very good, fruitful, soulful conversations. I'm also sensing as well for Capricorns. I feel like you're looking for a house move. You're contemplating it heavily. You're thinking heavily about, you know, where do I want to go? Where do I want to live next? Do I want to go to a place that's warmer, colder? Do I want to, you know, am I happy where I am? So a lot of these security issues are coming up. And I'm also sensing as well, it seems like the current geographical location is not really serving its purpose in your life anymore. So you might be thinking about the move, and you might be wanting to do it next year in 2018. Okay, so take care of yourself, Capricorns. Reach out to friends that you haven't talked in a while. I feel like it's a good time to do that, okay? So moving on to the next sign, we have here Aquarius. So Aquarius, I feel like for the next 2 weeks, it's all about staying put. It's all about owning your space, okay? So this is like putting things away, making your house livable, making your house very comfortable, making your bed, you know, washing the dishes, doing all of these very, very mundane tasks. But I feel like in a way it brings you a strong sense of satisfaction, and it brings you a strong sense of personal enjoyment. So I feel like being able to take care of yourself, being in a home where things are neat and clean and everything has a space, and, you know, it's like picking up after yourself. You're feeling really, really proud and very, very good. And I feel like this sense of groundedness, it's rare to see for an Aquarius, but I feel like you're stepping into your own space, you're claiming your space, and you're a lot more responsible. I feel a lot of people rearranging things in their environment. And I'm also feeling as well, there will be very, very, very good news when it comes to work, when it comes to finances, when it comes to some type of a stability that you're looking for. So they're saying 8 days. So I'm doing this on the 14th. And I feel like, you know, by this, today's the, yeah, so by next week. So today is Tuesday. So possibly by Wednesday of next week, there might be some good news that will, if you've been wondering, if you've been kind of hung up wanting to get some type of an idea, a plan, or something to move forward, I feel like there's going to be news, communication, information that will free you from this, you know, prison where you're just like, I wonder what's going to happen. I need to wait on the decision of another person. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. There is going to be good news. There is going to be news coming through as well. There's going to be help, is what they're saying, and there's going to be that sense of like people you can depend on coming through. Okay, so don't doubt if you have people that have always been very dependable. They're going to come through. So don't doubt, like, do they really like me? Do they really care about me? Are they going to be around for me? Do they want me here? All of those things are going to fade away because I feel like you have a helping hand coming in and you have positive, good information coming through. So in about 8 days time, that's going to take us into the 3rd week of the month. Okay, so I wish you all the best. Moving on to the last sign, so Pisces. Okay, so let me just try to absorb this information before I go into the interpretation. So Pisces, I feel like it's important to, if you have family gatherings, okay, I feel like it's really, really important to keep your wits about you. I do sense as well, for some of you, it's almost like, I do see a Scorpio energy, so I don't know if you're dealing with a Scorpio. And some of you, there's like some regrets, there's some sadness associated with this situation regarding a Scorpio. It's like too many things have been said, hoping for the situation to get better, hoping for things to come back around. And it's not exactly panning out the way that you'd hope, okay? And then for others of you, I mentioned before, you know, you have new opportunities that are coming into the picture, but I feel like you're so fixated on the things that didn't really work out that you're not really aware that you really need to take a step forward, that you need to kind of leave the past in the past and you need to move on with your life. It's almost like cutting your losses. So you're still fixated on the losses and you're not at a point emotionally where you can move on. And so somebody is coming through to give you, you know, opportunities. I see an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. And then I also see an earth sign, a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn. Somebody is giving you something, an opportunity for work, an opportunity for a partnership, an opportunity to make some money. And I feel like you're not making a move. And it seems like they're waiting on your decision. They're waiting on you. They're waiting on you. And I feel as if, you know, in the past, something didn't work out the way that you'd want. There were trust issues. And so you're very hesitant about, you know, jumping the gun and rushing into something new. But this opportunity is legitimate. This opportunity is very valid. So go with it and just don't pine over the past, okay? I'm going to leave it at that, Pisces, because I feel like you're emotionally still very caught up in it. You're not ready, and I don't feel you're going to be ready. But my advice, hopefully, I feel like you can see it for what it is, and then you can try to start something new before the December 2nd time frame, because it might not be a good idea to start things during the Mercury retrograde cycle. So if you wait, I just feel like it might not work in your favor. Okay, the offer is still going to be there, but the energy is going to be a little bit more volatile. So if you get it done now for the next 2 weeks before December 2nd, it's going to be a lot more stable, a lot more harmonious. And it's going to shift your energy a lot sooner, which I feel is something that you need, okay? So take care of yourself, and I hope you all enjoy the reading, and I hope it has been helpful for you guys. Have a wonderful rest of November. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.